Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 131, last of the year. I'm joined this week by
Omer.
There it is.
And this is the last podcast of the year. I actually didn't think about that till just now. Next week, Monday, Tuesday will be January 1st, right?
Yeah, so you will be with us on the last podcast of the year, and on the the second day of the new year.
The second day.
You fooled me.
We need some New Year's resolutions as well. Maybe we should have made a weekly rate about MMO resolutions.
What are your MMO resolutions?
MMO solutions. MMO solutions.
All
right, anyway, take it.
All right, my resolution is gonna be 4K because I have a 4K monitor. Just want to brag about that for a minute.
So how is that a resolution? Shut the fuck up. You pulled
okay, yeah, I got you.
You got me with that really bad pun because I thought your resolution, whatever. What are you talking about? What is?
How'd you fall for that?
I don't know. This is monitor resolution, and I don't know. That's some real baka business.
All right. Well, let's go with the weekly rate here. So, which 2018 MMOs are you most excited for? 2017, as you all know, has been a pretty good year for gaming. I think the best in a while. You know, I'm always kind of a cynic, but 2017 has been good to me. I gotta say. We saw a huge new game, rocket all the way to the top. PUBG, beautiful game. I've seen very few people who don't like it, and I've seen a lot of people who do like it from very broad cross sections. A lot of console gamers, I know, bought PCs for the first time to play PUBG. I know a lot of hardcore gamers that like PUBG, and everyone in between. Everyone's loving PUBG. Biggest game on Steam. Great year for gaming. A lot of older games got a lot of love. Path of Exile, huge update. Warframe, huge update. Warframe might actually become an MMORPG, so people can stop saying it's not an MMO. All right, because it's adding more persistent, hub world. Hopefully, we're gonna keep going. Big update for Final Fantasy 14 with the expansion. I know you've been all over that this year, so I think we can all agree it's been a pretty good year for gaming.
Oh, definitely. Plus, that doesn't even count all this shit that happened on Switch and whatnot. So, I mean, obviously,
I'm talking about PC here.
All right, we're talking about PC gaming. But Warframe has been huge. Final Fantasy 14 has been huge. ESO has been pretty big. There's been a lot of good stuff happening this year. Obviously, a lot of games are shut down as well. But we gotta be a little more optimistic once in a while. I think we were a bit too cynical on the podcast. And I think maybe my MMO resolution for next year will be a little more optimistic, because I think for the most part we're both a little bit pessimistic. And I guess maybe I started my own resolution last podcast talking about MMOs aren't dead in the West and people are all wrong about the numbers. So maybe we'll continue that theme into 2018.
All right, let's start the year with optimism. All right, we can slide into cynicism as it goes, but we should start with spirits high.
Yeah, that's fair.
And with that, let's get right to it then. So what are you guys excited for in 2018? I listed a whole bunch of games that were announced that are coming out in 2018. We got old games like Shadow of the Avatar, which has been playable for like 3 years now. It'll finally get a release in 2018. We also have a lot of new games that were just announced, like Air, Ascent Infinite Realm. This game was just announced I think a month or two ago, right? And they already said they're going to be ready to go first half of 2018. And a lot of people I know are shocked by that, and they don't believe it. But I have faith. So I think we're going to see Air. I think we're going to see Bless Online coming here too on Steam. So those two Korean fantasy games are going to battle it out for market share. A lot of other Kickstarter, crowdfunding kind of games will hopefully see the light of day in 2018. Crowfall is one.
Crowfall put a bit of a line in the sand. They said, we're going to have something out for sure in 2018. And they said they don't like to talk about release dates. But I said 2018, something's going to, Crowfall will be out in one phase or another. So that's definitely happening as well.
Yep. And what's even more fun, I think, is a lot of veteran MMO gamers out there like us. We have a lot to look forward to in terms of nostalgia for next year as well. Both Ultima Online and Dark Age of Camelot have announced official free-to-play versions in 2018. Now, both of these have plenty of private servers already, but there's something to be said about the official version. Both are going to be kind of restricted. Like, you can only have one character slot, and you can't use the bank in either of them. But both should be playable in 2018. No date on the World of Warcraft official classic server yet, but if we're lucky, hopefully we'll get that in 2018 as well.
I think it's a very likely 2018 release. I don't think it's big enough to really push back. Plus, we have the expansion for WoW coming out, Battle for Azeroth, and they'll probably come out probably shortly after. I mean, they don't want to take their own thunder away from selling copies of Battle for Azeroth. So I think after that rolls out, we'll probably get something concrete on classic WoW.
You know what they should do? They should be really scummy and lock the access to the classic WoW server behind the new expansion. So you can't just buy the $5 version and then play Classic. Classic's only available if you buy the latest expansion and everything before it.
Honestly, that actually might happen.
Yeah,
they want to sell copies of their game, and they want subscriptions anyway. So why not just bundle it with that? So no, that might be a thing. So once we hear, we don't have a release date for a Battle for Azeroth either. So they might come together. You never know.
I mean, if I was the accountant or CFO, that's what I'd suggest.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. What game?
I'm personally,
Give me your game of 2018. What are you excited for?
I mean, Ascent Infinite Realm is kind of nebulous. I didn't play it yet, so it's for me. Like, it looks cool, but I'm excited for Bless a bit more because I played Bless, and I think the game is really fun, and I wanted to play it more, but it was literally unplayable when it was available in Korea and Russia because it was so poorly optimized. So I'm excited to actually get my hands on that, and hopefully a playable version doesn't just crash every once in a while. Another game I'm excited for, which is unfortunately not on this list because it's not a concrete release for 2018, Peria Chronicles. There's something about Peria Chronicles which kind of still has me, excited. We saw the trailers, we saw the videos, we saw some of the design philosophy about some user created content, and no one's actually played the game, but it seems the most interesting. It seems like a game that's actually trying to do something a bit different. So that's a game that's on my radar, but unfortunately it's not going to be a 2018 release, or if it is a 2018 release, it might even end up being a more generic game. But their initial vision was different enough. But beyond that, I'm definitely looking forward for Bless.
Yeah, I think I don't think that level of optimism is warranted, sadly. So why don't we take a moment to actually talk about some of the games we lost this year? We all know. Well, actually, I never played this game, but I know you had. The Marvel Heroes was shut down. We lost one, Infinite Isles. What was it? Sky Saga Infinite Isles.
Sky Saga Infinite Isles, yeah. And we lost Master X Master.
Yep. Hero Wars. Was that this year? Oh man, time flies.
I know.
I feel like it's been forever since I played Hero Wars.
Hero Wars, they said it was coming back. It was one of those games they said we're going to shut down and we're going to, hunker down and change all this shit and relaunch it. I mean, it's weird because a game like Closers has over 1,000 concurrent players on Steam, and Hero Wars was basically a similar style game. You have the instance dungeons, persistent hubs, more isometric camera angle, and I thought it was buttery smooth as well. I mean, maybe the late game really dries up. I had fun playing Hero Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It didn't seem any worse than a lot of these other games, but it didn't really stand out to me. I know you were a bigger fan of it than I was.
Mm-hmm. But rest in peace, Hero Wars. Rest in peace, Master X Master, and the countless other games that shut down this year.
So why don't we make another prediction for 2018?
Mm-hmm.
Time for some cynicism and pessimism fun. All right,
it's crawling back.
Yes. What games do you think will shut down in 2018? And I don't want to hear the standard WildStar bet. Okay, I want what
WildStar. WildStar is not shutting down in 2018. I would bet money that the game is a survivor. We talked about it before. He said it was the cancer victim that just won't die. So. Yeah, they got 3 days to live, but they keep surviving. So it's definitely that one's definitely gonna keep surviving. Okay. I'm confident in that one more than anything else now.
Oh, Lawbreak is another easy target for a game that will shut down in 2018. Any unorthodox games you think will shut down?
No, I think you would think a lot of shitty, really small, older games like maybe like Soul Saver Online, which is like some bullshit MapleStory clone, was shut down. But like a lot of these games found new life on Steam. Like. I don't think it costs a lot of money to keep some of these old games up. So I think the games that have a higher cost structure have a much higher chance of closing down, even if they're more popular, which is one of the reasons Marvel Heroes shut down, because the game had like thousands of players online at once. Like it wasn't a dead game, right? And it was making some money, but they had to keep the Disney license up, which was very expensive. I mean, on that same vein, DC Universe. I mean, the Steam player base has been kind of in decline for a while now. I mean, I don't know how popular it is on consoles, but if it doesn't have a giant player base on consoles, I don't know if they can afford that license on DC.
You read my mind. That was my pick. DC Universe Online by Daybreak. That's my prediction for game that will be shut down because the license will be pulled. And I say that because, like you said, it's still got players, but that license is pretty hefty. And I know that there's a mobile game in the works by a different studio that's very similar. It's DC Universe RPG on mobile. And it's still in testing in Korea. But I feel like when they bring that to the West, the publisher is going to be like, hey, I don't want competition. Why is this is confusing. Why are there two of these, right? So they're going to just yank the license. That's my guess. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, 658 players concurrent in DC Universe is definitely not bad. Those numbers aren't bad, but I know Marvel Heroes had a good chunk of players as well online on Steam, but it shut down. And it's for that reason, it's not about the player base necessarily, it's about the cost structure as well. I mean, if they have a good player base, overall on console and PC, they'll do pretty well. But hopefully, the game stays alive. But I don't know. It's really hard to predict these things because it's just so odd when they shut down. Sometimes sometimes they'll last for years and they just crap out and die. Like Devilion is still around, and the player base is definitely not very large in Devilion. So like some of these are really surprising they've lasted this long. There's 19 players online Devilion right now. My bad. 12 players at a 24-hour peak of 21, and that's on Steam. And it's really weird because the game launched with 9,300 concurrent players, right, all-time peak. And it just absolutely got crushed. I mean, there's still some players on the Tryon Zone launcher, but I don't know their cost structure for this game. How does how does their licensing work with this game? How does the whole process work? It's sometimes a game can survive with like very, very few players. We've seen games with tiny player bases last like 5-10 years because the cost of actually maintaining a server. We talk about the cost. We talked about developing MMOs in last week's episode, and the actual physical cost of keeping a server online is negligible. We're talking like $100 a month, a couple $100 a month for a high-end dedicated rig for one server. And honestly, if your player base is like less than 50 players concurrent, you can host that on like a home machine. And if you want to still outsource it, it's like $20 a month. The actual physical bandwidth and hosting cost is nothing. So the only cost is the licensing and the software that you're going to license to run the game. And if that shit's already owned or pirated, it really doesn't cost you that much. And customer support, which is usually non-existent anyway. So, which is why a lot of the Super Games titles can remain up forever. Like Super Games is some of the oldest games that just never seem to shut down. It's like I don't know why Divine what's it called? Divine Souls is still around. Like I bet you've never heard of that game. It's nobody plays it, but it's like this Vindictus clone or this Closer's clone with Instance Dungeon, Persistent House. Nobody plays it, but the game's been up forever. And basically every game on Stupid Games kind of fits its mold. Yeah, we should do a grind fest for Divine Souls. Take a look back. Take a look at that game. Real oldie.
I bet I played this, but it leaves no memory with me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what this looks like.
There's actually one game. I might take us on a small rabbit hole over here. But after you look at the trailer for Divine Souls, I mean, the graphics aren't terrible. I remember doing a first look for this game ages ago.
These aren't horrible graphics?
They're not good. They're not horrible.
Oh, all right.
The video you're looking at, by the way, is probably like 240p because like they don't know how to use 1080p footage.
I guess their resolution for 2018 isn't very.
No, they have a very low resolution for 2018. And look at the text. We got fighter. You got slasher. I don't know. Like if you're designing class names and you can't think of anything like you have two melee classes. One's a fighter and one's a slasher. I feel like you gotta go back to the creativity board. Like slasher. Come on. Like even swordsman is better than that. And get rid of fighter. Fighter is a generic term anyway. So, I don't know. It's no good.
Speaking of... well, actually, I don't want to... You said you had a rabbit hole to go down?
Yeah, go back to the Super Games homepage for a second. There's a game on there called Global Adventures. And I want to ask the audience, have any of you guys heard of a game called Global Adventures up until now?
Nope, not me.
Go to their homepage and just check that game out. There should be a video on there.
Yep, I'm watching it.
And it's actually... I actually never heard about this game until like about a month ago. And the only reason I ever heard about Global Adventures is because they emailed us saying, hey, you guys should give out keys for our game. So we have closed beta keys for Global Adventures. But whatever the hell this is, I've never heard about this till now. But like, it's like some adventure action MMO style game.
This looks so... It looks like an early 3D build for like League of Legends.
What? It looks like, for me, it looked like a really, really ghetto, like, fuck, what was that game? The adventure game on console. Oh my god, I can't believe it's such a well-known title. We have it.
Which console?
Every fucking major console. What is wrong with me?
What did we play it for?
We played it for PS3.
Okay.
Fuck. Don't worry about it. It's like one of the most well-known, highest-rated games of like the last like few years.
On PS3.
Yeah, it's like this like you go on this. No, forget it. It'll come to me later.
Well, you did mention earlier the funny names for generic names for classes like fighter and stuff, and that reminded me. This month we actually got an update for Ashes of Creation, your favorite Kickstarter MMORPG. And
oh really?
Yeah, they actually updated. They actually announced their class system. I don't know if you heard of this actually, but there's going to be 64 classes. That's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, sure, but are they just copying the mold of the ArcAge, where you can like kind of mix and match certain things between classes to create this unique class?
Yeah. So basically, you I guess when you make your character, you pick a level, you pick a class, right? Then later on, you pick a second class, and the combination of your first and second class picks gives you this like one your class name. So you can be a fighter, a tank, a rogue, ranger, mage, summoner, cleric, or bard. But then when you combine that with your second class, you get all these crazy names. Some of these are really cringy names, but some of them are pretty cool. Like there's a difference between a arch wizard and a magician. I'm not sure what the difference is, but there you go. So which of these names do you think is your favorite here? We got Scryer.
I'm a fan of the Keeper. Keeper. Keep that shit.
That's a keeper.
Don't give it to anyone. Or Shadow Lord. It's probably the most cringe. It's like you come up with the name Shadow Lord. If you ask like your like 8-year-old nephew, like what is the coolest thing you've ever heard, and he'll go like Shadow Lord. Yeah, it just sounds really cringe. I don't like Shadow Lord. I like Duelist. I like Scion. Falconer sounds neat, but like I don't know, Shadow Lord just sounds pretty cringe to me.
Yeah, Shadow Lord sounds cringe, and there's also Shadow Guardian. That's kind of weird. Some of them are cool. I like the you know what I love? I love bards in RPGs. Mm-hmm. So I am happy that there's very many different kinds of minstrels and bards and stuff. So that's fun.
We did say we'd start the year off with more optimism, but I have to echo the thoughts of Outspire, who says, "Who cares? The game's never coming out anyway." I don't know. This is probably one of my both Ashes and Chronicles of Elyria are my least optimistic of the crowdfunded games. I think yes, they're the two games I think are least likely to come out in any way they've been promised.
I actually wouldn't put them in the same category. I think Ashes of Creation might not be the game they're saying. Like, it might not be this amazing revolutionary game, but I think it will come out. I think there's going to be some Unreal Engine 4 world you walk around and kill stuff in. Like I think it's doable. I think they actually had their Alpha Zero friends and family test, and I'll play some of the gameplay from there.
Gameplay.
Well, I mean, no, they're killing stuff. They're walking around and killing stuff. I mean, it's not like the best thing since sliced bread, but it's gameplay, right? I think this is way further than Chronicles of Elyria will ever get, to be honest.
I mean, we'll see when they let other people start playing it too. Friends and family is literally just a development team, and they're just showing off some curated content. I mean, I think today, like you and I could load up Unreal Engine and place like some default character models into the game, and just place enemies like in one area, and we can show off like that as a game. And I don't think we saw much beyond that. I mean, they've had some really cool design diaries, right, where they talk about their philosophy behind the game, right? And that's all very fascinating. Obviously you have to do that first, Like you have to go from that and inputting it into a functional, coherent game where all that works together and the systems integrate really well. And that's the challenge, and that's going to take years of time. And obviously, you need to know what the hell you're doing. You need to have funding. You need to have the team. And once we start seeing that, I'll be impressed with the game. But like just importing character models into a game and walking around in a certain world, like if they got other people to do this kind of test and they can say like, oh, there's something here, that's neat. I don't give any credit to the developer themselves just streaming a video of just showing off just one nugget of content. Maybe like nothing else works but the things they've shown.
Maybe, but again, Ashes of Creation, they're showing us this after just being announced this year, right?
Yeah.
Now, so all I'm saying is don't put it in the same category as Chronicles of Elyria, which is as old as our site, MMOs.com, pretty much. But yeah, and we still got nothing, So I don't think it's apples to oranges there.
It's probably not in the same category. I agree with you. There's definitely more merit to this game. Plus, the guy behind Ashes of Creation, Mr. Sharif, he's made millions on his own. It's verifiable. The guy's rich, all right, and he's clearly funded this with his own money to a degree. Even before he took crowdfunding money. So he's already poured millions, probably at least $1 million of his own money into it. So he's clearly very passionate as well. He's a big MMO gamer. He played ArcAge quite a bit, and even from that skill tree, it's very much inspired by ArcAge. So,
but even when you
there's more to it.
Even if you compare like their like discussions, design discussions in their studio, right? Just compare
more realistic.
Yes. Compare the quality of their like office streams compared to Chronicles of Elyria. Like it's like
it's not even close.
It's like two guys sitting in a room in this really tacky like room. I don't know. Like this is so I do think there's a difference in degree. They could both be overhyping. Sure, that's fair. But we shall see. Hopefully, 2018. Will give us something out of these Kickstarter games.
Look at this. Altay is optimistic about a crowdfunded, more optimistic than me about a crowdfunded game.
I'm just saying.
We got the Christmas spirit in us today. Right?
I'm just saying we're gonna see something.
Those lights around your little frame over there, the festive lights. So
yeah, no, I mean there's a difference between not meeting expectations and just scamming, which I think a lot of Star Citizen and Chronicles of Delaria are pretty much in the we have no idea what's going on. We're just taking
Did you really just look past all the Zango Fruit Juice stuff? Like, was that like completely overlooked? I feel that is the past of Axler Creations founder is more sketchy than the past of the guy behind, you know.
I'm just judging. I'm judging the competency of the teams.
But you know, somebody that's you told me before, like anyone that's doing multi-level marketing is like a scammer. Like, period. If there's no ifs, ands, or buts, you know. So like. All right.
He made his money scamming. I admit that. Okay. Now he's pouring that into his passion, which happens to be gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm fully aware of that, and that's okay.
All right. Keep up.
And public disclosure, guys. I don't recommend you give any of these Kickstarter games money. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy them when they come out and play them, but I don't really see a reason to do it ahead of time.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. Don't give these Kickstarter games money when they come out. If you support them, they're interesting. Give them a try. Otherwise, stay away. It's too risky. It's too risky, and I think a lot of people will get burnt for some of the games they've already funded.
Oh, there's a common statement. Someone once says Azure Creation is going to be tab targeting. Why even bother? Yo, I still like tab targeting, and a lot of the games we're seeing in 2018 will have tab targeting. I know Bless says they want to be more actiony, but it's going to be tab targeting. Air is tab targeting, so I don't think we're gonna get away from it quite yet, guys. Sorry to say.
I'm with you on that too. I think, but the thing is, there's been very few MMORPGs that have really done like action combat well, in my opinion. You know, it's so hard to count games like Vindictus, Closers, and Dungeon Fighter Online as action MMORPGs or Soul Worker Online. Yes, they're MMORPGs, they're self-labeled MMORPGs, and they have action combat. But unless, in my mind, it's still like there's a distinction between a game like Closers and a game like Blade and Soul and a game like Terra or Black Desert Online. These three games have action combat and they're in this persistent world. I mean, there are so few games like that, like literally so few. And off the top of my head, those are the only three I can think of right now. Like, is there any other action MMORPGs? So I don't think it's fair to shit on tab targeting when the other alternative is literally three games.
Yeah.
And you know, Black Desert Online is probably the biggest of those. It's been very successful. Like, there's been three games in that genre, in this vertical. You know, so you can't shit on every other game because of that.
And also, I mean, it depends what you want from an MMO, right? Like, if you want one-on-one combat, I get the action thing, right? Yeah. But like, if you want like a 40-person raid or this open world raid, you can't really do that with you know, without tab targeting or something a little more slower and tactical.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I wanted to run this whole 1.0 bandwagon. So as we all know, PUBG did their 1.0 release, and PUBG, besides being a good game, right? I know it's got hyped a lot. Everyone's talking about how great it is, but just think how competent the team behind it is. PUBG started in early access this year, right? In March, I believe, and by December they're done. Early access, we entered early access, and we left it the same year. How many games do that? So many games just enter early access and never leave. Like, it doesn't matter, 4 or 5 years, doesn't matter. So I think credit should be given to a studio for, you know, releasing in early access and then not milking it forever and using it as an excuse forever. They said, okay, 10 months, we're out of early, we're released, we're ready to go. Very refreshing.
What's very interesting about the development of PUBG, I mean, obviously the game had a very rough start. I mean, the game was unbelievably laggy, right? And it was a fiesta. But I think we talked about in a previous podcast that PUBG went from basically a phone call between Mr. Player Unknown, Brendan Green, and I think the CEO of Bluehole. Like, it went from a phone call to a product in like 3 months. Like, they basically said, we want to make a battle royale game and want you to make it with us. All right, and then it went from that conversation to Brendan Green flying out to Korea to work at Bluehole and to make this game, to help make the game. And it very quickly went from inception, from idea to a playable early access product in literally a few months.
Yep.
Whereas we have games like, you know, these vaporware crowdfunding games that raise millions of dollars, they can't create a product that anyone can play for years. So you really have to respect that. Okay, obviously the game had unbelievably buggy gameplay. It was shit optimized that a lot of people just couldn't play it, right? But to go from that to a playable product in a few months, and then from early access to a 1.0 release, and the 1.0 release is obviously still has bugs. You know, I've been playing quite a bit. There's a lot of bugs, but the game runs so much smoother. It's seen so much improvement, and it's something, you know, it's just amazing that how fast we went from point A to point B to point C. And we do lose that with so many crowdfunding games. And that's like MMORPGs in general are notorious for long development cycles and the can't-do attitude and just money being wasted. I would love to see how much money was spent on making PUBG as well. But I mean, that's unfortunately not privy to us because Bluehole is a private company and they don't disclose their financials.
But also, another game is going to have their 1.0 release soon. And this one, I didn't even know wasn't in 1.0 release. And
I know, me neither.
And I think they pretty much are just using it as a marketing thing because PUBG is 1.0 now. So World of Tanks is actually going to have a 1.0 release in March of 2018, and they promise a completely overhauled and upgraded graphic engine. So I'm going to play this trailer while we talk about it. And this is a game that was, it's been, you know, when did this come out? This has been around for a long time now, years and years. And it's been steadily updated forever. It's one of the top earning games in the world. It's Russian developed, and this is definitely this is another quality title. I think you know, there's a lot of complaints about it being pay to win because of the magic bullets you can buy, golden ammo. But you know you don't have to spend money to have fun. You don't have to always win to have fun either. So I think if you jump into a World of Tanks match and just kind of drive around, shoot stuff, I think you can have fun for free, without being too too much of a.
Before we jump into that pay-to-win rabbit hole, okay, you mentioned PUBG earlier, you know, and this kind of goes back to a conversation we started in the pregame. Is PUBG an MMO? You know, we got into there was a little bit of YouTube drama, very slight YouTube drama. Right. Maybe you can sum it up because you were the first to respond to it. So take it away. Sure.
Someone in our Discord linked us a video by some Skylent, some guy, and basically he was upset at how a lot of other channels and websites use the term MMO very liberally, right? And to him it has a very specific meaning, persistent world, this and that. And I get that for MMORPG, but he I guess he didn't draw a distinction between MMO and MMORPG. And so, for example, I would definitely put World of Tanks and PUBG as MMOs, even by the number of players. Because think about it, a 100-player match in PUBG has more players on that persistent map at that time, or that single map, than dozens of games do on Steam total.
Dozens, hundreds of games that have less players than that.
Yeah. So, and I think his main issue was with the definition, and he's entitled to his own definition of MMO, right? But I don't unless he can prove to me that he's some special authority on it. His definition is as valuable as anyone else's. And we at MMOs, we have our own definition. And we based it actually, we were inspired by Superdata. Superdata is founded by a PhD in video game media from Cornell, and Columbia, my bad. And he has a studio in Manhattan. That's where Supercell is based. And they basically sum it up as, MMO elements make you an MMO. And they consider games like League of Legends an MMO. And I'm going to sent the link there. So yeah, again, there is no authority on the definition. You got to go by someone's definition, right? And we're going to choose this guy, who's obviously thought about it a lot. He has a PhD in this field. Over some guy on YouTube, I mean, go ahead.
That was a very reasoned an argument. I think I agree with that as well. But I was a little bit annoyed by Skylent's video because it was titled "MMO websites are lying to you for profit." I mean, it was obviously a clickbait title, and it kind of makes me lose respect for someone that actually has this strong opinion. If you have a strong opinion on something and you want to engage with somebody, you should talk to them before calling them a liar. Before you say they're doing something for profit and they're lying to you. I mean, these are some bold claims. And obviously these claims were made purely to spark controversy, and no attempt was made to engage us, to even read our own definition of what an MMO is. We actually try to put on the site, what is an MMO? We have a criteria for these things, and there's a reason we call certain things MMOs. And we went back and forth a little bit on the comments, and basically one of his arguments was that if you look at a game like Path of Exile, Path of Exile has their developers basically say we're not an MMO. That's what Path of Exile's developers are saying, and he's saying, look, they don't call themselves an MMORPG, and you shouldn't call them an MMO either, but you still do. You guys suck. You call them an MMORPG, they're not an MMO. They even say that on MMO, and then he goes on to say something like games like FreeStyle 2 are obviously not MMOs, and he explains his rationale, and I sympathize with him because it is a very nebulous term, and it's not always easy what an MMO is, but to say that the other side is lying for profit is disingenuous and weird. Like, you're trying to create controversy where there isn't any. I mean, he used one thing that's really annoying is he actually used again the definition, Path of Exile saying they're not an MMO as an argument, but he goes on to say that FreeStyle 2 isn't an MMO. But by that logic, it is an MMO. If you look at their Steam page, they self-labeled their game as an MMO. Like, when you submit your game on Steam, they typed in what kind of game is this. The developers typed in MMO. if the developers call their own game an MMO, how is that, like, I'm not saying they're always going to be right, but, there's some rationale behind it when a game self-labels an MMO. I don't think he has this monopoly on what an MMO actually is.
Yeah,
And,
that's what it comes down to. This guy, he's some kid on YouTube. First of all, you said you lost respect for him. I had no clue. I have no clue who this guy was. So
he was a passionate guy. He was a passionate guy, interested in gaming, and I've seen a couple of his videos. And I can respect that. He's passionate.
I haven't seen any of his videos. So I guess he just was off my radar. But but he's some kid, and he's entitled to his definition. But
I don't know how old he is. Saying kid is a little bit demeaning. I don't know if we call him a kid.
Listen, I'm turning 30 this year. All right. You're all kids.
Fine.
You're all kids.
Papa Altay. Papa Altay. All right.
I've earned the right to say kid. All right. Okay, by kid I mean he's young, so he doesn't know. First of all, if you're arguing over definitions, it kind of proves you're not developed mentally. Like, as long as each side defines what it means by its terms, you can't argue that. Like, if I say X is 5, you can't say, well, X should be 4. Well, for the rest of my argument, I'm going to assume it's 5. So there's no argument there. As long as a side is clear on what it means, but when it says certain things, that's what it means. There's no, like, authority on these terms. It's just, as long as you're consistent internally, that's it. That's the end of the story. So anyway, I thought it was kind of childish to fight over terminology. We do have a page on our site. We talk about what it means to us, what we mean by MMO. And look, you can disagree with that, but as long as we're internally consistent, you can't attack. That's not a criticism. So,
and one of the things that's what kind of grinded my gears about that is it's calling us liars, and then he actually went on to say that you are profiting off of this lie, which is so far from the truth. It's ridiculous. It's just nonsense. To say that misleading our audience makes us more money is a genuinely stupid thing to say or suggest, because it's just wrong. The goal of MMOs.com is to literally be as useful to our visitors as possible. The more useful we can make MMOs.com, the more, helpful it can be, the more money we make. That's how websites work. You get more traffic, you make money, you appease your visitors, they come back, and they keep using your site, you make more money. Like, MMOs.com is both a project of passion and something we'd like to make some money off of. I mean, we have ads on there for a reason. We want to make money. And the best way we can make money is to please our readers the best. Like, we want to make sure we're as honest as possible. If I thought that putting all these games excluding 90% of the games that he would say is not an MMO, if I thought that would actually help our users more, hell yeah, I would do it. There's no reason not to. And I don't have this principled.
I feel like you're overanalyzing this guy's video. It was basically, he was sad that he wasn't making more money because he kept talking about Patreon and stuff, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not making money off this. These guys are making money. I want more money. That was the video. I just summed it up for you.
All right, I guess maybe. Yeah. Look, he's a passionate dude that likes games as well. You can see it from his videos. He's interested in MMOs. He's got a page to share.
He's kind of cringy. He's kind of cringy. He showed Massively OP's Patreon page, and he was
that's cringe.
It was like, oh, look how much more money they're making than me. Oh, it's not fair. That was the video.
Okay, I yeah, to a degree, and that's why okay, yeah, maybe we should move on. But yeah. It was a very silly video, and look, you can present your definition, you can say why a game isn't an MMO, but the moment you start attacking other definitions, I agree with you. It serves no purpose. You learn in high school debate class, you define terms and you stick with your definitions, and that's it. And there was no decorum that was kept in this video, and that's why I made the comments that I did.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his little spiel. Always fun.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's a good old MMO drama is always fun. I found another Kickstarter game. No,
let's hear it.
I was trying to bring back the shitty MMORPG of the week on Kickstarter, but there aren't really that many games coming on Kickstarter, unfortunately. So there's a lot of oddballs though. Like, a lot of very weird money grabs are appearing on Kickstarter. I just linked you one. This is a game called Lord of Arendi. All right, they're trying to raise $20,000.
That's a pretty small ask.
And they immediately start their pitch with the 3 most important questions. What kind of game is it? It's an MMORPG. What time frame is it set in? Medieval fantasy. And then they ask the burning question we all want to know about this game. Will it have magic? Yes. That's it, boys. It has magic. Take my money. I don't know. This seems like a very... why even bother setting up a Kickstarter page for this? It very clearly seems like there's nothing here. There's nothing here.
Yeah, they didn't have more. They should at least have little banner pictures. Come on.
Yeah, right. Come on. If you want to get some money, you gotta, or maybe lower your ass like $100 to get a quickie. Get $100 and run. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are just going to Kickstarter and just putting up nonsense now.
My favorite thing to do is see what their largest pledge tier is. So this one is actually pretty generous. Only $1,000 for platinum. You know, not bad, not bad.
They're getting an NPC named after us.
Do you know what's funny? They're already over their limit. Like, they already missed their delivery date. So it says December 2018 is the delivery date.
It's 2017 right now.
2018. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, Altay's confused because it's the end of the year. We all get a little confused there. But I'm kind of sad that we're not seeing a lot more like cringy Kickstarters. We see a lot of Kickstarters that come out now that are just very low effort, like attempts to get money. But you know, we haven't seen too many quality shitty Kickstarters yet. So maybe 2018 will yield more of these. But this one I just thought it was silly because he puts down like the 3 most important questions. Will it have magic?
But I don't think he's got any money, right? No, $10 from his mom. That's it.
Yeah, you got 10. Look, hi, I'm Jace. All right.
Yeah, this is. I'm gonna ignore this one. It's not even like a real one.
Yeah, true.
All right, what do you got next?
Well, speaking of FreeStyle 2 being an MMO, actually, people have been asking what MMOs have been playing lately. I'm gonna say FreeStyle 2. It's a game I've played quite a bit in the last week, and I've been enjoying it tremendously. It's honestly, if you never played FreeStyle 2 Street Basketball, look, they're not giving us any money. They're not advertising with us. I'm just plugging them because I'm having a lot of fun playing FreeStyle 2. If you never played it, give it a try. It's free to play on Steam. It's a basketball game, but even though I don't like sports games, this game is real quality. It's been out for a couple of years already. It still gets like 600 plus players online. I've been having a blast. I got like at least 50 hours into it in the last few weeks.
You've streamed this one a few times, right? This week?
I've streamed it a couple times. It's a lot of fun, and people watching me, got inspired to play it as well. So I've been trying to rope a couple of my friends on MMOs.com Discord to play it as well. So I wanted to give it some love because it's a game I've enjoyed quite a bit in the last few weeks.
Someone mentioned a new game that came out, so the FreeStyle 3v3. What is the difference there, and like which one should people play?
Okay, it's actually really bizarre that 3v3 freestyle is even a thing. So there's a new game on Steam called 3v3 Freestyle, launched I think last month or the month before that. It's basically like they made a console version of the game, and then they launched it on PC, right? And almost nobody plays it. It's basically the console version. It's a console remake of FreeStyle 2, but with slightly different graphics. I think it's actually made on Unreal Engine, so it is actually quite a bit different graphics. But it's very clearly made for consoles. And there's actually like in the menus, there's no mouse controls, so you have to like move with like arrow keys in the menus, and it makes no sense. And nobody plays it. So it never made sense because it was going to segregate the player base anyway, and the community for FreeStyle 2 is not really that big anyway. That even having 2 competing games was an unbelievably stupid idea. But FreeStyle 3v3 is basically dead. Don't play it. Nobody plays it. It's got very few players online. Just play FreeStyle 2. There's no reason for the existence of 3v3 FreeStyle in the first place.
That's fair. Oh, and someone in chat just mentioned Mud. I actually read an article like an hour ago before the podcast began, and it was probably one of the best MMO articles I read this year. Actually, talk about
it. Bring it up.
Yeah, let me link it for you guys here as well. If you guys want to take a minute to read it after the podcast, of course. So it's a story of the guy who made Mud, which is like the what all the MMOs are based off of. So the Mud stands for multi-user dungeon. And back then, so everyone would use a mainframe, but you weren't in the same room as the mainframe, right? So you would type on your little keyboard what you were doing in this text-based game. And you couldn't actually see the results because there was no screen. What the computer would do is it would print the results of all the players' choices, and then you would have to read what happened. How crazy is it to think that that's how we used to play games? Yeah. And it's funny that this guy, he actually had a rough family life, like childhood, like he was poor in England, like working class. And he says one of the reasons he made the game is because he wanted to be able to explore and let people be what they want to be without the constraints of like the real world, right? So he wanted people who like the whole system of classes was like so you can pick what you want to be. You're not constrained by your real world position. And he actually says he hates free-to-play games because of that, because he hates the fact that you can pay to like progress faster. And pay for power, because the whole point of the game he made was to create this virtual world where everyone can just kind of be what they want and is independent from the real world, and they're not, there's no like advantage to being well positioned or high class in real life. So it is kind of fun to see where it's gone. And also he said he's actually been disappointed at the rate of progress in MMOs. So we're not alone, guys. Even the guy who made Mud is a little disappointed with the progress made since at least this millennium so far, this century.
It's actually, again, brings up a good point about pay to win again. I've personally become more I hate to say it, I don't want to be called a pay to win apologist. I become more of a pay to win realist. And obviously I don't think any of us like unfairness in games, right? we kind of do view online gaming as this bastion of like equality and freedom, where merit, it's all about meritocracy. Who does the, who's the best in online game is actually the best and most skillful player. But it often becomes whoever has more money or more time to sink into it. But I kind of wish that purity stayed. This guy's complaints about free to play are definitely valid. It really detracts from the game when people can pay for advantages. They don't have to do that climb. It becomes unfair. And that one thing at the top, every MMO is a political statement. I should know. I designed them that way. That seems like a pretty deep analysis there.
Yeah, he was actually rebelling against the class structure of England in the 70s. So I actually didn't know he was so political in his his design, his art and design.
Have you ever played a mod?
I have not. I played some gimmicky ones, like if you want to count those Homestar Runner.
That counts.
Or or there was like one built into like Frog Fractions. I don't know. I never actually played one that's multiplayer, so no, I didn't. I play text-based games. They don't count.
Yeah, they're a little bit past our time. You said you're almost 30, but mods are a bit older than that, so we're not that old just yet. All right, we're getting there, but we're not there yet.
I met a lady slightly older than me, and I told her what I do for like the site MMOs.com, and she said, "Oh, I used to play muds." I was like, "Oh wow, I'd never played those." And then she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm dating myself."
Well, speaking of mods, I want to go back to MMO Development because it kind of wraps into what we talked about earlier. And from last week's discussion about how much it costs to actually make games. So I was digging a bit deeper into XLegend's annual report, actually. And XLegend is a company that makes Aura Kingdom. They make Twin Saga and a handful of other games. Basically, all the MMORPGs published by area games. And they actually publish these games worldwide in a lot of different countries. And I was looking at their R&D budgets. My article is not done about breaking down what it costs to make all these games. But if you look at the research and development budget for this company, XLegend, they spend about $16 million a year on their entire R&D budget. And that includes basically making the games, developing the engines, and as well as maintaining new content updates, expansion packs, and keeping all the games up to date for all their games. So a company, they've been making MMORPGs since 2008. I think XLegend was founded around then. And they've made at least 10 games we know about on PC. Not counting all the mobile games they made, and not counting all the projects they worked on and never released. So if you look at that number, $16 million a year to make 10 games and basically maintain all those games and add new content for them, the actual cost per game is well less than $16 million. Because if that's the average cost per game, that also includes the cost of every expansion and maintaining those games and updates and everything else. So again, it shows that you can actually make these games on a much tighter budget than people kind of imagine. The idea that MMORPGs are near impossible to make because they cost so much money, I think is wrong. I think you can spend a lot of money making MMORPGs, and games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, Elder Scrolls Online prove that. But you can also make games on a much tighter budget, and we've seen that with a lot of Asian games. And the argument that Asian slave labor, it doesn't really equate. Obviously, a computer programmer in Taiwan isn't paid nearly as much as one in Silicon Valley. But Taiwan is not like a broke country. I mean, Taiwan, the average GDP per capita is probably over 20K. I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but the average software developer probably makes about $25,000 a year. That's not slave wages. So
yeah.
That argument doesn't make sense. It's remarkable that everyone just kind of gave up on the MMORPG because it's too hard to make, too much money. It costs so much money, nobody can afford that kind of money, or if they'll never get that money back. I think hopefully we'll see some games that kind of break that mentality in the West. Some Western games that are developed on a much tighter budget.
Well, we'll see if these Kickstarter games actually manage to come out and are decent. That will prove the point. I mean, except for Star Citizen, none of them have broken triple million.
Giant budgets.
Yeah. So if these games come out and they're playable and they're fun, so I think it will show that it is doable for a modest sum.
Even Crowfall, I mean, the funding was not through the roof. They actually have on their website they track what their funding was. Let me see if we can find it again. But their funding is not is not huhuge, and they're going to make it this game. And their total funding looks to be about $4 million in total pledges. They raised 13.7 million equity. They're up to 20 million. It's a big number, right? 20 million is actually pretty high. But if they can make this whole game for 20 million and it's actually half decent, that's not that unreasonable. Especially with the $100 million budgets we've seen in other games, or the $200 million budget we've seen in other titles. But compared to the Asian games, I think it's remarkable that you can get the engine for BDO made for $1 million, or you have a full game like Dark Age of Camelot made on a couple $1 million. EverQuest was made for $3 million. So again, it's just weird that you would think with technology and engines and how much more modular things are, you can get this done cheaper. within the days of our request when maybe everything had to be done by hand.
Yep.
But it seems to be going the other way for a lot of games.
Camelot Unchained is another one of those Western Kickstarter games. This one I don't think is coming out in 2018 though. They have not actually put out anything saying that. Oh, thank you for the sub.
Hey, much appreciated.
So this game actually has their own engine. They actually stated that initially they started with like an off-the-shelf engine. I forgot which one they mentioned, whether it was Unreal or Unity, but they said they quickly found out that it wouldn't work for their game, so they built their own. And their claim to fame here is going to be big, persistent MMORPG battles. Like we're not talking like 5-on-5, 10-on-10. So their hope is to have a lot more unit players on the screen during their fights. Again, I don't think 2018 is going to be the year for Camelot Unchained, but hopefully we do get some more updates from them.
And their grand total funding is only $4.4 million, so that is definitely on a budget compared to the other titles.
Yeah.
Though I think of the other crowdfunding games we talked about, it's clear to me that Camelot Unchained is probably the least like long in development. I mean, perhaps maybe more so than Chronicles of Illyria, but they don't have too much gameplay wise either available just yet. But I can respect the fact that they're doing their own engine. Honestly, some of the most fluid and like just games that feel the best have been games that do their own engine. Even when we played Phantasy Star Online 2 for the first time, like the first thing we both said was like, "Wow, this game fucking runs well." I wonder what engine it's on, and we find out it's made by by Sega. It's their own proprietary engine. When you design your game around your engine made specifically for your game, it really does show. It tends to run a lot better. And off-the-shelf solutions require an immense amount of tweaking to get right, as we've seen with PUBG. Even with their hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, it took a long time to get that game running well, and even now it doesn't run perfectly.
Yep. So hopefully we will see what happens.
Actually, somebody mentioned RaiderZ, and it kind of fits back with our weekly raid. We talked about games launching 2018. RaiderZ was an oldie. And 2018 might see a lot of old games relaunched as well. And RaiderZ actually might be one of those games. The game shut down, I think, quite a while ago, but it's actually being relaunched. It's taken back. It's been taken over by a company called Masangsoft, and they're the guys that publish and develop Guns currently, Guns 2, and they actually might be bringing the game back. They posted on their Facebook page earlier this year, actually on November 10th, that they're looking into it. They own the game now. I guess they must have bought it in bankruptcy, and there's a chance that RaiderZ might come back. So don't if you miss RaiderZ, there's a chance for it to be back there. This is a game, unfortunately, I never played too much, but if I remember correctly, it actually was an action MMORPG. So it was one of the few action MMORPGs. It's
a shame the studio didn't really last too long. I love their naming structure. Just put a Z instead of an S, like Guns, RaiderZ. We need more of that.
Okay. Talk about me. OG Guns was a game, all right? Guns 2 was just not the same, all right?
Is there an official Guns original server right now? I know there's a lot of private servers.
No, Guns 1 is gone. There's only a Guns 2 official server, and it's kind of empty. But it's rest in peace for RaiderZ. I mean, this game was definitely it had a lot of love. It had a lot of fans, but I don't remember if it was actually action or not though. For some reason, it's been a while since I played this, and I never got too far into it. With MMORPGs, it's very hard to really sink. Get to the end game of an MMORPG. For me, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 and MapleStory lately. Those are the two MMORPGs I've actually been playing.
Yeah, that's right. Burning is still going on. I still have my Burning slot. I don't know if I should. I don't know what class to use it on before it runs out. I do want to get it to at least like 120 before it runs out, though. Because you cannot use it for the new class.
Unfortunately. I do want to see I definitely do want to see more action MMORPGs that are actual action MMORPGs. Because again, a lot of the talk about point and click or tab targeting versus action is really silly because there's only. Am I missing any other real action MMORPGs? Again, you have BDO, you have Blade and Soul and Terra, and that's it. Everything else is this instance-based game, which is not the same thing. Yeah, I guess Soulworker Online is action as well, but it's definitely a bit of a stretch. It's not the same kind of MMORPG as Blade and Soul.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the sub. I don't know if that was your full name there, but that's all I saw. Thank you for the donation there.
Oh, we have Skylent in our chat now. I mean, if you want to engage, we could take it to the post game. Maybe it would be a fun conversation. We're actually open to communicating with you, and I would have appreciated if you reached out to us before you tried to shit on our name. I mean, that's proper way that's how you handle discourse for the most part.
I don't know. I'm actually not as upset about that. I think it's just silly that we're still having this terminology discussion. As I said, anyone can define it however they want, as long as you're internally consistent with how you're defining it. Yeah, it's fine. And I know in chat you mentioned anti-consumer. I mean, who's the consumer here? Everything we're doing is free. You know, like you don't. If you feel like our message is hurting you, just stop watching. You know, it's not like we're charging money for this or anything. So I don't know what the consumer is here.
And again, everything we do on MMOs.com is for our visitors and our viewers. You know, we make the most money by pleasing our viewers. The more we exist the goal of MMOs.com is to curate content, is to curate games and make it easy to find games our visitors want to play. And I'm open to admitting that we could be wrong, and if I find that out with enough evidence,
no. I'm actually not open to that. How can you be wrong about your own definition?
No. I'm saying
what does that mean?
No, you're right. You cannot be wrong about your own definition. However, the goal of MMOs.com is to steer, and curate content, right?
Sure,
and if we could do that better,
yes.
If the consumer perception of what an MMO is and what they're looking for changes, and the way we handle it no longer fits that need, yeah, I'm going to change it. I don't have this, I'm right, you're wrong mentality. I'm not going to be screaming on the top of my lungs on, this is not an MMO because it doesn't fit my exact mold. Look, yeah, I have maybe some of my personal preferences, but MMOs.com exists to again, for our viewers and for our visitors. Like, that's the reason we do it, and that's the reason we structure it the way we do. There is no, other intent, and it's silly to say that.
This is so weird. I hate this argument. It's like
it is a dumb argument. I agree. It's a very low caliber argument.
Yeah, it's a very low end argument.
Arguing definitions by itself is a very silly thing to do. And
now, if the argument was, can the site be better? Sure, every site can be better, and in the future, if there's a better way to organize a site, sure, it's fine. But to just fighting over this definition is just like, it's just silly.
Yeah, I agree. Again, mentioning,
actually, I want to. We were mentioning this in the pregame, but you know how I thought chess was an MMO. I'm sure that'll trigger this guy.
Grind his gears.
So yeah, online chess. Especially if you can like get little cosmetics for the board or like your pieces, like Santa hats on your pieces. That's an MMO, baby. You got a ranking system. You can level up your elo. That's like a level, right? You got classes like pawn. Queen, bishop.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Guys, you heard it here on MMOs.com. Chess is an MMO, all right? A two-player MMO.
Two-player MMO. There you go.
I mean, what if you have two really large players playing? They're very fat people. They could be MMOs. They're massive.
I'm gonna play this MMO while we talk here. Oh my god, look at me go!
It's actually probably one of the world's most popular MMOs. I wonder how many people are playing chess right now in the world. You earn pieces of your loot box. Guys, imagine free to play took over chess. Like at any moment while you're losing, it's like you spend $5.99 in microtransaction, you get another turn. You get to go again, right? Oh, that'd be hilarious. Or like, you lose some troops. You want to reroll some troops. You just get a loot box. You get like, oh fuck yeah, I just got a queen, and you put it on the board wherever you want. Oh, that would be amazing.
Oh no, I just suicided my piece. I'm feeding.
Altay, stop throwing. There's some quality MMO gameplay right there, Sotorino. Altay's live streaming an MMO right now. Please let the man focus on his MMO. He's an arena PvP right now. All right. He just cute. When he's outside the game, he's actually in the overworld. All right. There's a chat box in a server browser. Right. That's the overworld. All right. And he just got queued up in a 1v1 arena matchmaking. All right.
Oh man, you see this horse right now? That's a rogue, and I'm like a priest. My queen is a priest, so it's like he counters me really hard. I gotta get out of here.
Fuck this game needs to get fucking patched. Queen's OP as fuck, alright? we need some patch notes in here, boys.
I gotta retreat. I messed up.
Yo, Queen's got this this game, the developers fucking gave up on this game, alright? The game hasn't been patched in like what, a couple thousand years?
I know, right?
Where's all that money going, huh? It's fucking, they're just greedy as fuck. Alright, all that money is being stolen.
I think we should make a clan, do some raiding.
Yeah, we got a raid in chess. See, how would raiding even work? I guess multiple people can like can tell one player what to do.
All right, I'm gonna close this up before I embarrass myself by losing. I
don't know what you're doing in chess.
I don't actually know what's going on in chess, boys.
This was an embarrassing show of your chess prowess. I'll tell you that. All right.
All right. Well, point made though.
All right. You were just throwing the game to gather intel. All right. Altay, maybe you can again maybe a small bit of a side discussion, but One of my friends actually said something really silly when we were watching the Dota 2 World Champ, not Dota 2, League of Legends World Championship, and maybe you've heard this before too, about like picks and bans. I'm the kind of guy that says picks and bans aren't that important. All right, they don't determine the game. I don't think in any professional esport like Dota or League where there's mechanics involved and two really good teams, I don't think picks and bans determines who wins. Like, yeah, you could play with a different team, a different comp, and whatnot. And one of my friends, people say that like teams will make really bad picks, right? Or that they won't ban a hero and they'll let enemy team get an OP hero. And they'll say it's to gather intel, They're just gathering intel to see like what the enemy team will do with that comp, But then they lose the game. Right? I just feel like that's a nonsense argument. Like, why would you gather intel by losing a game on a world stage?
Well, that's two different arguments there. I'll take the first one. I do think in casual play, like if we were to fire up Dota over at League or whatever and just queue us two and with 3 random people and just play a match, picks basically don't matter. Just pick what you want, ban whatever you want, doesn't matter. But at the professional level, okay, that tier, I do think picks matter because there are people on the world stage that you're gonna bump into that are literally the best in the world at a particular hero, and if you can ban that, and if they can let it slide, and if they can pick that hero, it can make a world of difference in that match.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but I'm just saying the games aren't determined by picks or bans. Like, I don't think a pro team is just gonna make the most retarded picks and bans and just going to instantly lose. Like, I don't think you can look at a draft in Dota or League and be like, all right, this team just lost 100%. Why are they even playing?
It's not 100%, but
they're even close to that.
There are like tournaments I've seen of Dota where like this one player is known for one hero, right?
Yeah.
And they always ban it, and then like one team won't ban it, and that guy will pick it, and he'll go like 20-1. And they should have just banned it, So I do think picks. Now this whole gathering intel thing, I feel like gathering intel is what you do before the tournament. Unless they have a magical pocket strat, in which case, I don't know. Is it worth the gamble to try to fish it out by throwing one of your 3 matches that you get with these guys? I'm not a pro. I'm not a captain of a pro team. That seems silly. The whole throwing. Like, imagine you're in the grand finals, right? It's best of 3. Yeah. If you're gonna throw one match of the best of 3 to figure out this intel, that's a high stakes gamble. Could it be a legit strategy? Maybe. Again, I have no experience, so I can't claim it. But it sounds silly to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a fun. I don't know. I always see people, try overanalyzing things like that. At least I think they're overanalyzing it.
Yeah, I think where it comes from. I think there's so much downtime between matches. So like the
commentators have to create the story and the drama.
The commentators just talk so much BS in all these like it's so like are you like excited to be here? Like yeah. So what going into it? What's your mindset? To win.
What were you thinking on this position?
They're just killing time.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. You know what happened this another bit of MMO news this last week? Maybe we can switch away from the controversy. I mean, chess is a very controversial MMO. Maybe we can cover the World Chess Champions later. But Aeon, did you know that Aeon was a subscription MMORPG in South Korea? Until just this last week?
I did not know that. That is really weird, but I'm not surprised. There are a lot of games that are free to play, or what we think should be free to play, or are free to play, are actually subscription in Korea. For example, Lineage 1 is still a subscription game in Korea.
Is it subscription on mobile as well? Because I know most of that revenue has moved to mobile.
Okay, I don't know about the mobile version. Yeah.
But yeah, Aeon is now free to play in Korea as well. Obviously, that means the revenue numbers have been, the player base numbers have been tanking for Aeon. I mean, that's the only reason to make this transition after all these years. The game has been free to play in Europe and North America for a while now. But I think NCSoft is really going all in on mobile. We showed you the numbers a few podcasts ago, and basically they get like 80% of their revenue now or more on mobile games. So mobile is everything for NCSoft. I'm just hoping that we get a mobile MMORPG that kind of, is actually kind of fits what a traditional MMORPG actually is. That's what I'm really hoping for. I think we've gotten it with Arena of Valor on the MOBA front. So I think Arena of Valor is an actual, MOBA.
It's also an MMO, don't forget.
Okay, yes. There you go. It's an MMO as well.
So Arena of Valor, the latest mobile MMO, we played it last week on Friday. I had a lot of fun. I was actually shocked to think I would have that much fun because so many games don't translate with mobile, in my opinion. For example, Lineage 2 Revolution, it just didn't translate. Like, I was like, what am I doing? This is silly. But Arena of Valor, which is basically a mobile League of Legends, honestly, it did translate. You get the essence of a League of Legends match in a very distilled, 10-minute, 15-minute match, and it works. It's surprisingly good. Definitely worth trying. There's so few good games on mobile, so everyone that comes around really is worth checking out. It's free, so why not?
No, again, I 100% agree with you as well. But it's one of the few mobile games that really translated well. You know, like you said, you play Lineage 2 Revolution, and let's say you're a Lineage fan. You know, let's say you've loved playing Lineage 1, 2, and you know you've been playing Lineage private servers for a long time, and you play Lineage 2 Revolution. It just feels like it's autoplay nonsense. It doesn't feel like an MMORPG, and a lot of mobile translations don't feel like what they were based off of. But you can actually play an Arena of Valor and feel like you played a real MOBA. Like I've played League of Legends for at least 1,000 hours, probably way more than that. I've reached Diamond in almost every season. I've been top 100 on multiple accounts. I've been Master in League. I've played a lot of League. And everyone I've introduced Arena of Valor to has actually surprisingly liked it. But it's weird because a lot of people have been very reluctant to try it. Because I feel like so many people, especially PC gamers, have been burned trying mobile games. Because like mobile games are just not the same thing. And they never feel like the same thing. And like you always get disappointed, you know. Lineage, I'm sure a lot of people that really love Lineage got mega disappointed. They're not going to try mobile games in the future because Lineage 2 Revolution is not Lineage 2 by any stretch. It has nothing to do with Lineage 2. It's just an auto-playing, nonsensical game. But Arena of Valor is an actual MOBA, and I kind of rope people into it, and they actually end up liking it. I'm confident that game will do well. I think if any game has a chance to maybe dethrone League in the West, it's going to be Arena of Valor, because I don't think another PC MOBA will launch and be able to get that kind of player base. You know, League is already so entrenched now on PC in the West that it's not nothing will beat it besides maybe a mobile game, and I think Arena of Valor could be that mobile game.
I will say this about Lineage 2 Revolution. I know several people who do like it, but oddly, none of them actually played the original Lineage 2 or any MMORPG really. Like, if you just play for what it is and you don't try to attach this MMORPG PC expectation,
that's different. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if you just look at it as what it is, I think you can enjoy it. We did play it for Grand Fest Friday, and we did go longer than we usually do. So there must have been something to it. You know, like I think we got to like what, level 20 something. So. More
than that, like 30 something.
Yeah.
But Arena of Valor, I mean, this game, I like the video from AIC versus SK. And they're SK versus Liquid, rather. I mean, there are already esports games going on for this game. And again, just to refresh people's memory, this game is, I hate to bring it up all the time, but the game has about 100 million monthly active users. This is already the biggest video game in the world. You know, it's already more successful than League of Legends. It makes $435 million a month, according to Bloomberg, which, again, League of Legends makes $1.8 billion a year. This makes $435 million a month. I mean, if that continues, they'll make more than double what League of Legends makes. It's got more players, makes more money. It's already massively successful in China. And we'll see if that the success transfers over to the West, though, because it just launched in North America. I think it will, because I think it's actually a good game. It's not pay to win. There's no loot box. There actually is a loot box. There's no pay to win, and it doesn't autoplay. It's very similar to League, the way you unlock heroes, and they are way more generous than League of Legends with how quickly you can unlock heroes. You get like half the heroes for free just by playing basic games.
You know what I will say though? I know a lot of people in chat, including you, have played League of Legends extensively, right? But to someone who knows what League is, has seen like the trailers and the like the esports on Twitch and stuff, if they look at this game, Arena of Valor, right? If they just look at it casually, and if the UI was hidden, right? This is just League, but like slightly zoomed in. Like it looks just like League to me, but like zoomed in more with the mouse.
Do you know what I think, actually? Which asks a good question. Like, what if League of Legends Mobile came out? Like, would that do better? I honestly think Tencent made this game as kind of like a demo. Like, they wanted probably to do League of Legends Mobile, right? Because why not, right? League of Legends is their most prominent IP, and it's probably the most recognized, one of the most recognizable games in the world. But this maybe before we do that, we should practice. You know, we'll make this game called Honor of Kings, or it's called Arena of Valor in the West, and we'll learn from that game, and then we'll make League of Legends Mobile. I think that was their thought process, actually, because there's no reason not to use your most prominent IP. But they didn't realize maybe how quickly this would catch on. And this quickly grew to be one of the most successful video game in the world. You have characters in this game that are basically League clones. Like, there's a Garen-like character, very much like Garen. There's a hero that, again, the character you're seeing in the video in the background has very Twisted Fate-like elements. Every X number of attacks, instead of drawing a card, every like 3 attacks or so, I'll get a red like silver icon over my head. If it's red, it'll do AoE damage. If it's gold, it'll stun. If it's blue, I'll get mana back. It's very clearly inspired by League. The map is identical almost to League of Legends. So this was their test run, I think. And they were going to make League of Legends Mobile afterwards. But this kind of took off, so they're running with this one, I think.
And what's funny, you just mentioned League and potential new games, you know. They actually are working on a new game. So Riot Games has been listed as the developer of a new game announced in China. Not announced, but I guess leaked. Yeah. It's called Teemos Adventure. All we know so far is it was approved by the Chinese Communist Party. The developer is listed as Riot, with the publisher listed as Tencent. And also, it's listed as a PC game. So this is not a mobile game. We have a new Riot Games game coming out for PC from Riot Games. You know,
it's called Teemos Adventure, though. I can't take it seriously. It doesn't sound like a real game.
Why?
Teemos Adventure, really?
What do you think it'll be?
Oh my God, Riot got a new game called Teemos Adventure. It's going to take the world by storm, make billions of dollars. No, I don't see millions of people playing Teemos Adventure. It seems like a flash game or like a joke like a joke mini game they made, like a joke mobile game. It is on PC though. That's like a flash game they made. You know, they had like a few flash games around Teemo, but I don't know. It just seems really odd because they could do so much. They could do a collectible card game. They could do a battle royale game. There's so much they could do. But why Teemos Adventure? This sounds like almost like a single player, like an RPG or like some adventure game. I don't know. I think it's a meme game. I don't think it's gonna be anything special.
I'm playing this beautiful cartoon.
Teemos Adventure will change the gaming industry.
Oh, Teemo Battle Royale. So 100 Teemos, okay, and they gotta place mushroom mines and shoot darts at each other.
I'm liking the animations on this. Who made this video?
It sounds like Lily Pichu, but I have no clue.
Just scroll down. Look at the name who made this.
Domix and Jom took Teemo's voice and remixed it.
Domix Comics makes some quality content. And this is on the League of Legends community page. That's some quality Teemo gameplay, boys. Teemo FPS gaming. Let me juggle those shrooms. Teemo is ridiculously popular in China. I didn't know that, Zen Exile. I mean, Teemo is kind of like a meme here in the West as well. But I don't know. I guess maybe they love him in China. Teemo-chan.
Okay, actually, Skylent does have one good point there, and I did correct something that he mentioned in on YouTube. Yeah. There's a lot of games that should be in our MMO section that are currently in our MMORPG section. We do use freelancers to put those pages up, and sometimes they're in the Philippines and stuff, so perhaps their English is not cutting edge. So
mistakes are made too, I'm sure.
So yeah, if you link those, we'll definitely fix those. And you're right, there could be more, it could be a little more clean and organized there. Happy to fix those if you link to me on Discord.
Yeah, we always appreciate constructive criticism.
There was one. What's that game? It's like Robots and something, or maybe you've heard of it.
I fixed one, and I went back and fixed one more I saw earlier.
Guns and Robots. This game was listed as an MMORPG.
It's very clearly not.
It should be an MMO. It's like there's 3 maps. You kind of queue these PvP modes, third-person shooter. Yeah, this is an MMO. This is not an MMORPG.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So no fault there. All right, I appreciate the notice there on that one.
What's crazy too is when I go back to update my article on these game developments, it's really weird how many Korean companies are actually publicly traded. Like there are a lot of very small Korean companies, like WebZen isn't that big of a company, but they're also publicly traded. I think the guys that made Last Chaos, the ones that are published by Area Games, is also publicly traded, and they're this really tiny company. Last Chaos is not that well known of a game. It used to be big. It was one of the first games published by Area. But there are so many tiny 10 million or less size companies in South Korea that make MMORPGs. So I'll be able to dig up a lot of information on that, and it should be a fun article when it's up.
Yeah, I wonder how much Last Chaos cost to make.
Probably not that much. We got to pull up the R&D budget before the game came out to pull it up.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't know. Not much. So any plans for New Year's?
I mean, New Year's is coming up real soon. We'll probably just go see the fireworks on this trip here. And the MMO news has been a bit light this week as well because, again, Christmas time, and basically we get no... obviously when people are off work, we don't get any updates either. We're not getting any communication with PR people. So not much was really happening in the MMO world beyond that.
I got a good story. Good way to end.
All right, hit it.
All right, this one's very consumer friendly. All right, I know.
Right, I like consumer friendly.
A lot of viewers out there are looking for that consumer quality stuff there. Okay, so Apple. I know a lot of people don't like Apple for whatever reason, but I love Apple. And they did a great move this past week. Apple says all the games on their App Store, okay, the Apple App Store, which is the biggest one, all games there have to reveal their loot box odds going forward. How amazing is that? That's a huge story.
That's a big one, and I'm really glad they're doing it because it's being done. It's being enforced by Apple as well. It's not like they were required. Governments didn't force them to do it. They took a preemptive pro-consumer stance, and that's really good for the industry.
Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be copied by, Google with their Android store and all that. So I'm glad that this is happening. And like you said, it's happening without the without government force, like in China. China's been doing this for over a year now, but now at least it's happening, and we're gonna get it too. So that's good. That's good.
Definitely a good one. And they should reveal a number for Hearthstone and basically every other mobile game already out there. You know, they're going to be required to, adhere to this rule just to be on there. And it'll be, it might create a standard that should be followed on PC as well for everything else. So definitely a good standard to set.
So yeah, after all that loot box nonsense with EA, it's Apple that comes to save the day. So
Apple is coming to save the day.
And there are some PC games that will be affected. I don't know if you mentioned Hearthstone, for example, is mobile and PC, so they will be affected by this ruling.
All right. I mean, again, a bit light on news this week, but we'll have more next week for sure.
Yeah.
It's the holidays.
Yep. If you're watching on YouTube, hope you have a wonderful New Year. You spend it with us. Next podcast.
The day after New Year's with us. All right. It should be a fun time.
All right. For now, we will be signing off and moving on to the post game.
All right. To the post game. Later.